how do you go about social justice work or philanthropic endeavors without becoming the savior?
My heart was on that like community, person in environment kind of perspective.
Even though I will always be, political action, I also think that we need individual action as well. I don't see them as the opposites. I see them as complementing. There needs to be both, not because when I change my habits, I'm going to change the world. I'm not. Let's be real. I'm not. But I'm going to influence the culture of the world just, around me. And I'm going to contribute to the culture that I want to see.
What's so fascinating is that, these women knew that they were doing something important. But it doesn't have to be big. It's even, these little tiny things. We do collect the records of activists, but we also collect the records of everyday women. So a recent collection that we acquired is the stories of new mothers, which really resonated with me as a new mother, and talking about the experiences of these moms having new babies. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They're just going about their daily lives, but that's still really important, right?
How do I make change outside of systems? Like still having to navigate them when I have to, but like how do we like co-create and construct something like new and different and better and more tailored to the needs of our community?
And it's the whole argument of how will my individual boycott help anybody? It is helping people. They have seen a dip in their profits and their stocks, so it does work. People from all over the world are coming together to support this one event, and it's actually going against the tenets of capitalism because none of these people have any economic stake in that. There is no incentive to them to going out to protest or practicing protest in their individual actions.
You can't control the financial success of an event. So for us, it's like we at least want people to leave feeling appreciated and feel like, we fed them, we took care of them, they made some connections. So if worst case scenario, it was a show where people didn't spend a lot of money, they at least left feeling fed and appreciated and they had the experience. And so like, it's not a total loss,
We operate on a lot of like a structure of like mutual aid. So it's kind of this idea of like redistributing wealth.
I know how hard it is financially. I let the clients know that I know the agreement says if you miss a payment, I got to charge you something. But I tell them like, if you can just give me a heads up, just tell me ahead of time, Tammy, my car broke down. I can't pay this month. I'm not going to charge you. I just want communication. That's all there really is.
I'm calling them in right now. If they're listening to this, I'm calling them in to understand how patriarchy affects them.
I didn't realize I wasn't straight until my mid-30s, mostly because I'd hated my body so much it didn't occur to me to like people with a body like mine. I constantly tell my daughters that I say, check your 3 C's, which if you're catty, competitive, or critical to another girl or woman. These are no's. This is upholding the patriarchy.
Just showing up and being who you are and giving a safe and brave space for other women to come in, no matter what they present with, no matter what they come with, no matter what they have to say, to give them the space to be without judgment, without stereotyping them, without causing them to fear something. And in that space, we can grow a beautiful sisterhood.
In order for me to hold this space for you, and for you to trust me in this space and to feel safe in this space, like I would like to show you who I am so that you can determine like how does that feel for you to step into showing me these most vulnerable, authentic parts of yourself.
Ja kada sam počela da govorim o tome vrlo direktno, ženama koje poznajem da pitam pa kako se ti osjećaš, pa kako je tebi, onda je počeo da se stvara taj krug i ja sam razumela da to nije samo moje. Čim nije samo moje, znači moram ga izneti u taj javni diskurs da bude prosto vidljivo svima.
I think it's just important to remember that we're all human and we all suffer, and I can guarantee that someone alive on this planet is going through something that you're going through in some way.
Walking alongside people in some of their most vulnerable moments really showed me a lot about what, how this world and these systems treat folks who have like different barriers to essentially like who can't just fall in line with like the status quo.
As a feminist, as a person who believes in certain things, reach out to younger people around you who you might think are struggling, who need a little bit of like a safe space or a support system. They're just children in your family, children around you, and if you see someone being disruptive or being a problem child, it's because they do not believe in what is being imposed on them, and these are just terminologies that are said just to sort of isolate them.
Don't ever ignore, like I would say, women's exhibitions, and again, queer people. Try to go, try to see, try to post on social media about that, even like one story, one post, make it more visible.
I organize a lot of events where I invite these designers to showcase their clothes, and I just enjoy in this creativity, in this art that they create.
We also have to have the conversations about like the higher level stuff that makes us feel like cared for, especially in these times where, sometimes it feels like having a 6-week-old saps all of your time and energy, and we need to make sure that we have some left over to share with one another.
I think thoughtful conversation is always going to be the best way forward in a divided world. And I think there's no better way to kind of bridge a divide than through mutual respect and compassionate communication wherever possible. Obviously not in all cases is that possible, but where we can.
I want to be with somebody that I feel comfortable, that I feel safe with somebody that's gonna challenge me, but not like trying to explain to me how racism is justified, but challenge me in a good way, in expanding my own thinking. I don't want to feel like I'm working. I don't want to feel like, I'm creating educational content while on our date. I don't want to feel, threatened and unsafe by somebody's opinions. I will respect wherever you are, and I will engage in an open dialogue with you, but I will not date you.
Learn from others and just try to be a nice human being.
I think the best way for people to be kind is if they're happy. And I think this is the thing, you need to figure out what makes you happy. And I think that took me so long to learn.
It's been really helpful for me to like unlearn that like actually the world can wait and does not need to expect everything of me at every given time. I can slow down. I can, go at my own pace. I can go and stare at a tree and chill, and that's okay. And in fact, that is like healthy and sustainable. And that is going to help me make sure that my activism is sustainable.
Find that thing that makes you happy. I think like, especially as we become older, we become adults, like we're not taught that it's okay to just have fun.
Just remembering that some of the things that you're collecting in your day-to-day activities can have importance. So I know there's this big rush to throw everything out and to clean up and all that thing, but just before you do that, think about what it represents, right? And to with your family members, get their stories, listen to them. I think that's really important. You might not think that things are important or that you're doing something out of the ordinary, but just holding on to a few of those things as you're capturing, what you're doing in your life, right? It could one day prove to have some value, and an archive might be there saying, oh yes.
This whole idea of how do you live in this world as a feminist, or just do you stop eating, do you stop watching movies, do you stop listening to songs? And that's where when I came across Milo's idea of disidentification, it was very comforting, because you can take the best of whatever something has to offer.
What it all comes down to is life is full of choices. And that's really the only thing you have power over is your choice. So you want to make sure you know what your choice is.
Do you have a thing? What's your thing that makes you happy?